So, welcome to the Hyde Park Central School District's Board of Ed meeting on October 24th, 2019. Can I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss medical, financial, credit, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Carries.
All the food in the back is...
Okay, welcome to the Hyde Park Central School District's Board of Ed meeting on October 24th, 2019. Can everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There is no agenda modifications. Can I have a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Okay, upcoming events. So on Wednesday, October 30th, is the Harvest Pops concert at FDR High School. On Tuesday, November 5th, there will be no school for Superintendents Conference Day. On Monday, November 11th, there will be no school in observance of Veterans Day. On Thursday, November 14th is Career Day at FDR High School from 7:30 to 2. And next Board of Ed meeting will be November 14th at the Board of Ed office at 7 p.m.
It's at Violet Avenue.
Oh, sorry. Violet Avenue. Apologize for that. On Friday, November 15th, will be the fall drama. It's November 15th and 16th. Fall drama, Sense and Sensibility. Friday's show will be at 7, and Saturdays will be a matinee at 2.
Can I add an announcement to that?
Yep.
I just received this today. For Friday, November 15th, just prior to the fall drama, the FDR class of 2020 is offering a spaghetti dinner and raffle. So you can find all the information on the at FDR on the website. But this is a first, very creative idea to have a dinner before the play, kind of like a dinner theater concept, and a raffle. If you buy the tickets in advance, it's $15 a person, and you get 20 regular raffle tickets, 4 big raffle tickets, and spaghetti, bread, salad, and a drink, all for $15 ahead of time. At the door for the spaghetti dinner, it will be $20, and the spaghetti event, the doors open at 4 o'clock, and food will be served from 4:30 to 6:30. So, great idea, senior class. 2 other calendar things that just popped up into my purview today, just because they're tomorrow and some people are here, but the Haviland's Fall, what's it called? Festival is tomorrow night, and the Netherween is tomorrow night. Some of our other schools have already had their fall festivals, but those are tomorrow night.
Okay, next up is Pride. Rachel?
All right, so since we're here in North Park, today I thought I would focus on them for Pride, and there's a lot of great things going on. So to start, Haviland's AVID program is going to partner with the elementary school to once a month send students to be reading buddies with the first graders of North Park, and similarly, FDR will be having their AVID program send students once a week to help the kids out with organization and like little learning activities, so that's pretty awesome. And then the Hyde Park Education Foundation awarded North Park with 3 scholarships to be used for projects throughout the school. The recipients are Laura Collins, a 2nd grade teacher, who was awarded a grant to hold your applause till they're all mentioned. awarded a grant to illustrate and write a published book based on the history of the Mid-Hudson Valley. There's Mary Langenau, also a second grade teacher, awarded a full STEAM Ahead grant, and Ann Marchetti, a teaching assistant, and Joan Magnuson, a fourth grade teacher, granted a scholarship for storage containers and a triple shoot basketball game, which is going to be installed next week, so that's awesome. Also, for the first time ever, the third grade students at North Park will participate in the Vaniver Caravan Dance Program, which is an arts education program that is said to promote diversity, community building, and cultural understanding at North Park, so that's amazing. And then also, I'd like to mention about Viola Avenue's Harvest Fest. I was there, and it was an amazing success. For 2 hours, 2 full hours, families just kept coming with their kids, and it just kept coming. They were very excited to be there and get their faces painted, so that was definitely a big success. And then for Haviland and FDR, there's kind of a joint little pride thing because the FDR varsity golf team won the Mahals Championship, and actually there's a Haviland student, Ike Rothman, on the team. So Mr. Shaw would like to acknowledge him because that's amazing. So big congratulations to the team on that one. And then for FDR, our last football home game was rescheduled for today, but it was officially canceled this afternoon. But the students did plan on wearing green and gold to kind of show some school spirit for the last game, so that would have been nice, but it's okay. We'll get them next time.
So anybody else have pride?
Okay, I will just say that it is Board Appreciation Week, and I could not be more honored to be a superintendent in a school district than I am with the current board we have right now. Actually, all boards that I've worked with since I've been here. Hyde Park is very, very fortunate to have a board that is cohesive, respectful, even when, people have differing opinions, it's always very, very respectful. Because of your dedication, the district has moved forward exponentially. It is greatly appreciated. One year I got in trouble for saying, all the work they do because they said I would scare away prospective board members, so I won't say all the work they will do. I will tell you that they do their homework and they're very thoughtful. And so it is Board Appreciation Week. You have some swag in front of you. Your to-go mugs are just to recognize that we appreciate you and show our Hyde Park pride. So thank you so much. It is a volunteer position. There are some people that don't understand that this is, their salary is zero. And the amount of growth we've seen in this district has been exponential. So zero pay, exponential growth, it's an amazing thing. So thank you very much for your service and your continued service. Also, I'd like to thank the North Park community for the tray of goodies in the back. I know that the PTA also helps with that. I don't know if any staff members did, but we really appreciate that. So, thank you.
You mean that check isn't in the mail?
No.
I'll get another cookie.
Okay, on to Superintendent's Report.
Yeah, I have a couple of things tonight. It is with great sadness that Judith Johnson, the Regent, the Board of Education for the New York State Board of Regents, she is our representative, and she was a dynamo. Her body of work, both in education all the way up to becoming a superintendent, to being named the Superintendent of the Year in New York State, her service on the Board of Regents was invaluable. It was sudden. There were many of us that had communicated with Judith Johnson in the very recent past. So our sincere condolences, and with unbelievable gratitude for everything she did for the students in New York State in the many capacities she served throughout her life. So that is very sad. New York State is looking at redefining the measures for graduation, and there is on the New York State website, nysc.nysc.gov, one of the first links on the right, if you scroll down after the pictures, is a icon for graduation measures. There is a public comment period going on now through, I believe, the end of November. So if you go to grad measures at nyscd.gov, you can certainly weigh in on what your thoughts are about the graduation measures for New York State. Regionally, there's also probably a 10-page PowerPoint that outlines exactly how they're going to go about looking at this. They're in phase 1 now. A lot of information gathering, a lot of regional meetings. Aviva and I are going on November 12th. I don't know, Ed, are you going to? Didn't mean, but yes.
I don't believe I'm going to that one.
But there will be multiple opportunities to weigh in on the graduation measures, and I can't talk about re-looking at graduation measures without saying that Judith Johnson was a tremendous voice at the table to represent all students, so she's going to be a big loss in this endeavor. She was certainly really championing, I can't say that word, she was a champion for it's time to look at the graduation measures again. So if you're interested in looking and/or providing some input, they are in phase 1, and you can go to the New York State Education website and first read about what the plan is, and then, or how the plan is going to unfold. After phase 1, they will do a blue ribbon commission. They also outline the 50 agencies that they will partner with to help them make their decision and become part of their research. It's interesting to get all that work done. It was just announced, as many of you know, the Commissioner of Education for New York State resigned at the end of August, and we were just informed this week that the interim Commissioner of Education for New York State has also resigned, moving on to another position. That's Beth Berlin, and she will be finished in mid-November. Beth Berlin has been a backbone at SED through the resignation of multiple commissioners, so she certainly knew what she was doing as an interim. So now our stalwart interim has gone, so if anybody wants a job at State Ed, please apply. And last but not least, Carl and I attended the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce breakfast today, and the guest speaker was Craig Eldricken, the Deputy Chief of the Roosevelt Fire Department, or the Hyde Park Fire Department. Hope I get it right. And it was really, he gave a great presentation, but the thing that he really was talking about is the real need locally for fire department members and EMTs. So I'm just putting in a plug that if anybody in Hyde Park is at all interested in becoming a volunteer firefighter and/or an EMT, the need is great. And that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah. Is this also under Superintendent's Report?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking for, yes. Lori Woolover, could you please step up? And Michelle Schock, are you coming up to join us? Yeah, come on up. So we have with us tonight 2 board members from the Hyde Park Education Foundation. I hope you saw their display outside. They are here. This was the first wave of Hyde Park education grants. Rachel shared that, and we're going to actually have a presentation of certificates to the teachers. And I don't know, Lori, are we going to talk about a few upcoming events like the Veterans Thing, or? Sure. Okay. Well, welcome, Lori and Michelle.
Well, a couple of the names have already been announced. Laura Collins and Mary Langenau, Ann Marchetti and Joan Magnuson from North Park. We also gave awards to Catherine Lang and Juliet Boone. So could you folks all come up? You heard a little bit about the awards from North Park. So who we got there? Catherine Lang. Catherine Lang.
Hey, Lori, could you please talk with the microphone so we can get you on video?
Oh. Hi. Hi, Steve. Oh boy, now we're getting some feedback. I'm sorry. I'm never good with this stuff. Yes? No? Better? Okay. So Catherine Lang is a orchestra teacher at the middle school, and she won an award to fund 25 shoulder rests for her violin and viola students. And if you ever played violin or viola, you know that you really have to have that thing here. So, so Catherine Lang, come on over. Thank you. And we'd like to stay up here so we can take a little picture when we're all done. There we go. Sorry. I don't usually do this. Joan Magnuson and Ann Marchetti, right. Some of the stuff that's out there is your stuff. Yep. Congratulations. Thank you so much. I have another one. I have another one, so you both have one.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
There it is. There we go. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Laura Collins, it's also from North Park, and you heard a little bit about hers. Thank you, Laura. Juliet Boone is from FDR, and she is providing a robotic storage cart and 2 student standing desks for students that are, you know, better off up than down, and I'm sure you all know some, or maybe you might even have one at your house. So congratulations, Juliet. And last from North Park is Mary Langenau, and you heard about hers, the Full Steam Ahead. Can I get a photo first?
Yes.
And then I'll give you the rest of our little spiel?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, you want to give them the swag? And do this.
Oh, sure.
Actually, Michelle, you do too. Oh, okay. The money that we gave out was in excess of $4,000. There seems to be discrepancy with the numbers that I have and the numbers that were the actual numbers. But anyway, and we earned the money through the Field of Honor. We've had 2 Field of Honor events in a row on Memorial Day weekend, and we're hoping to do that again this year. We're also trying to get more exposure into the community, and we're doing that to start with next month. We're going to have a small, very small, compared to the Field of Honor, display of flags in honor of Veterans Day in front of the former Hyde Park Elementary School, and we're going to have between 15 and 20 flags there and a sign that says, you know, thank you to to our local veterans and so on. And we're really developing a strategy to sort of reach out into the veterans in the community so that we can have them more aware of what we're doing with the flags, and they can help us out with that. So, and in the interest of swag, I made some little Hyde Park education stickers, and I'm going to give you all one. And I'm also going to put some by the door, so please take one on your way out, because we really need to get ourselves known a little bit better, and I'm hoping that this is a good start. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more?
I'm good. Did you get coffee?
Okay, up next, we have a principal from North Park, Lynette Williams, and she'll give us the our North Park Elementary update.
How do you take it?
So greetings and welcome to the North Park Elementary, home of the Lions. We are honored to host the Board of Education this evening, so thank you for being here, Dr. Rychik, Deputy Superintendent Aviva Kafka, all of our board members, Mr. Danielson. And I have to really say a very special thank you and welcome to all of the NPE faculty and staff that came tonight to support, and especially our PTA, who made sure that the setup was really nice, and to our custodians, who made sure that everything was really nice and clean, and to our family members, thank you for being here as well. So I'd like to start by paying tribute to the Hyde Park Central School District vision and mission, and I'd like to also point out the North Park Elementary vision, which reads, "We are lifelong learners with unique strengths. We think critically, act collaboratively, and serve as compassionate, respectful, and intelligent members of a globally connected community." And I think it's important to note that this vision was created collectively amongst faculty, staff, parents, custodial staff, kitchen staff, and we included components of the 4 C's, thinking critically and acting collaboratively. We read it at the beginning of every faculty meeting and use it to drive our work. The North Park Pledge is something that students recite every single morning over the PA, and it talks about having the courage to do the right thing and taking responsibility for our own behavior and learning. And we remind students of this on a daily basis. So last year's enrollment consisted of approximately 477 students, and the breakdown that you see in the pie chart includes the demographics. So approximately 70% of our student population is white, approximately 20% Hispanic, approximately 10% Black, and 6% multiracial. This chart shows the percentage of North Park Elementary students that demonstrated proficiency on the math state exams. And if you note, it looks at 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade cohorts and shows how they progressed over the last 3 years. And if you notice that 27% of students performed proficiently in the 17-18 school year in 3rd grade math, and that number increased to 41%. 4th grade remained approximately level, and there was a slight increase in the 5th grade scores. This graph shows you the percentage of North Park Elementary students that perform proficiently in ELA. And if you note, 3rd grade was about level at 33% in 17-18, and 18-19, they about 30% performed proficiently. 4th grade made significant gain in ELA, moving from 30% to 40%. And 5th grade made an outstanding 18% gain, from 29% to 47% students performing proficiently on the exam. These are the students that performed proficiently on the science exams, and you can see an increase there as well from 17-18 to 18-19, from 81% to 87%, and from the year before, a 17% gain. This slide demonstrates our building MAP scores. At the previous Board of Education, Aviva did a wonderful job of explaining how the MAP scores are generated and what they mean and what they represent. And as you can see, as the grades go up, the MAP scores increase in proficiency, with highly effective in 5th grade in math and effective in ELA in the 5th grade. 0 to 12 is ineffective, 13 to 14 developing, 15 to 17 effective, and 18 through 20 is highly effective. Overall, we were effective as a building. And this graph demonstrates the number of test refusals in math, ELA, and science between 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students. And if you notice that the bars decrease, especially for the 4th and the 5th grade, moving from 22% to 7% in 4th grade ELA, 28% approximately to 16% in 5th grade ELA. And so the number of students that are refusing tests is decreasing. Our building leadership team has the task of creating goals, and it was really exciting this year to work with our BLT on creating our goals. We conducted a SWOT analysis where we looked at the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats to making sure that our students perform proficiently in school and enhancing our community. And we landed on 2 goals out of that work. One is to talk about the way that we brand ourselves as an NPE community. And so we're going to look at like our website analytics and understand why people are visiting our website, what we can do to enhance and draw them in. Also, we are thinking about creating a new logo and just really marketing ourselves in the community and showing all of the bright spots that exist here in North Park and all of the wonderful things that our students, families, staff, and faculty accomplish each and every day. So that is our number 1 goal. And our second goal is to talk about the sense of shared responsibility and collective efficacy. And out of that goal, I'm so proud that the BLT is thinking about creating a goal that is shared amongst all of the elementary school buildings. And they are excited about that as well. So we actually have a think tank meeting on November the 6th, hosted here at North Park for the first one. We hope to travel to each of the elementary schools. Some ideas include maybe a community action kind of network where we host a fair that all of the elementary schools collaborate on, and or one big community service project that we can agree to collectively engage ourselves with. And so I'm really excited about that goal as well.
I'm going to interrupt.
Sure.
Because the magnitude of what she just said, I just want to make sure everybody gets. So I got a phone call from Lynette, and this came out of North Park. All the schools have a building leadership team, and I got a phone call from last week saying that in shared decision-making and involving parents and community members is just incredible. And I got a phone call from last week from Lynette saying that she's floated an idea out there that to see if there was any interest, whether it happens this year or they work toward it towards next year, that each of the building leadership teams at the elementary school have one collective goal that they all work on collaboratively. And she wanted to know if that was okay. I said, this is the ideal state. This is the ideal state of a community coming together, all 4 elementary schools working on a community goal. And so I want to publicly say, yes, Lynette, it's okay. And thank you, North Park.
Thank you. And thank you to the family and to the staff members that came together to make it happen. So we have improvement strategies that we're constantly working on, again, looking at our bright spots and thinking of really how we perform best and how we highlight the positive work that North Park Elementary students, staff, and faculty members are doing. One such thing is that we will be embarking on a new phonics program, K through 2. We're very excited about that. We continue to do work around data analysis. There was some OG training provided for teachers, and we are developing a threat assessment team. We have a new school social worker that is extremely exciting. She's working so well with our teachers and with our school psychologist, who's absolutely amazing. We have the addition of a kindergarten teacher, which is really great because it helped to support smaller class sizes in kindergarten. We have a new water fountain, and that's probably the best news of all. It just got installed today, and something as simple as that is just so exciting for lunch because it makes things so much more efficient for our custodial staff and for our kitchen staff and students. We also have a new PA system, and we were trying to get it to show something, but we only were able to really to get it to say lockdown, and we didn't want to scare everybody, so we didn't do that. But it's really great because you can flash messages across. We haven't needed to do that yet. The first time that we saw it work, we were meeting about it, and Bobby flashed across the screen, "Rick, your wife is in the lobby waiting for you," and that's how we knew that it actually does work. So in the mornings, we play classical music for our students as they're entering the building, so instead of a bell, we play classical music until it's time for classes to start, and that's really it sets a nice tone to the day. And it also can be broadcasted outside in the field, so when students are at recess, we don't have to worry anymore about code reds or code blue. If there's a coyote or a bear outside, we can simply just let them know, and they can come to safety. So there's so many things that are going on at North Park that we're extremely proud about. Included in our technology integration is the Hour of Code, and so this year we are actually opening it up to families in the morning, so we'll have 1 hour before school begins where parents can come and participate in an Hour of Code with their students, and that will be hosted collaboratively with our librarians. We continue the use of our Chromebooks in each grade level. Students have the opportunity to use Chromebooks every day, and we also have them in the library for use. We will support the One Book, One School effort that we did last year as well, and the librarians have been doing a great job of talking about incorporating maker spaces in the day for students, so that's very exciting. NPE Pride, just the other day, we had the Energize guys come out and host a wonderful assembly about recycling, and it was engaging, and the students learned a lot. The efforts done by one of our TAs, Jeannie Gross, is just tremendous around recycling and making sure that students know the importance of it, and we're really happy about that. We have a sensory path outside that our occupational therapist keeps updated, and she changes it so that students are always excited about making use of our sensory path. Our Healthy Highways program is just amazing. Last month, 5th grade teacher Mary Beth Scattergood had her students actually conduct the assembly for us, and each theme will be hosted by a different 5th grade class. So next month will be Miss Lang. We travel down Courage Crossroads, and next month we'll go down Diversity Lane. And Luna the Lion, as you can see in our Healthy Highway Spotlight, is trying to get to Colorado with all of the positive behavior that North Park Elementary students exhibit. And I really have to thank Ann Marchetti and Trish Schramm for making sure that we are consistent with traveling down healthy highways. We also continue to collaborate with the community, and Rachel did a tremendous job of highlighting some of the wonderful work that's happening at North Park. Thank you for that, Rachel. This week we started our Reading Adventures program with the St. James Episcopal Church, so they have volunteers that come out each week, and they have one-to-one reading programs with our students, and it's really awesome. We have some authors visits coming up. Pageant for Peace is always a wonderful event, and there's so many things that I won't read everything to you, but we're really, really excited about the work that we're doing with the community, and especially the goal that our BLT has for this year. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really are proud to be in PE. If you get the opportunity to walk around, it will be really great. We have also in the 4th grade wing pictures of our global read aloud that the 4th grade classes have participated in. Joan Magnuson is even participating in a postcard exchange where they're posted in the hallway, and she's received postcards from Canada and from different places in the United States, and then our students write back to students about the books that they're reading. So there's so much going on, and we just really want to thank you for the opportunity to let us do what we do here at North Park. Any questions?
No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Keep doing it. Yes, thank you.
So next up, we have a summer school report from Deputy Superintendent. Deanna?
Well, it's a mix.
Okay. There's 3.
3.
Is someone doing it?
It should be on the podium. Ask Lynette.
Nope. She's collecting them.
So we're going to start with elementary summer program, and Deanna Gonzalez was our summer school principal. She's going to talk about that. Then Paul Faziola is going to talk about Haviland, and then I'll talk about the high school and our other summer programs.
I guess Milano's not worried about you. He's still where he was.
As long as he has eye contact. That's good. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. So I have the pleasure of presenting on our Summer Bridge program. So we hosted this summer just over about 100 students. We were about 127 students for Summer Bridge, kindergarten through 5th grade. And these were our numbers. We were pretty steady in the 20s, except for 5th grade. We had a little bit lower numbers. I'm not really sure why we had lower numbers in 5th grade, but we did have some lower numbers in that particular grade level, so that's something we'll take a look at when we're planning for the coming year. And we had 21 ENL students from both North Park and Violet Avenue who joined us, who were in those classes as well, and received some supplemental ENL service over the summer. Student selection for Summer Bridge was teacher recommendations from all of the buildings. Teachers were really great about getting us names, and Josephine Perino at district office helped us to organize all of that and invite our families. We looked at classroom performance, MAPS assessment, also students' reading levels, trying to identify students that we thought would benefit from a little extra instruction over the summer so that we could prevent any kind of summer loss or regression, so that we could try to have them come back in the summer and be able to start strong academically. Oh, sorry, skipped a slide. Our program components, at Violet Avenue, we qualify for universal free breakfast and lunch for all students and the community in the area. So any student or any child under the age of 18 can eat breakfast and lunch for free at Violet Avenue, and our Summer Bridge students are able to benefit from that program. So all of the kids that participated in Summer Bridge were able to have breakfast and lunch free of charge every day, which was a nice way to start and end every day. Our curriculum consisted of reading, writing, and math instruction. We also had a dance teacher who came for the 3rd year now for Summer Bridge and did dance instruction with the kids for enrichment. The majority of the instruction that happened in the classroom was thematic in nature, so they got to study an area of interest. And this year we also had a professor, Dr. Jane Bean Folks. We have a strong partnership with her at Marist College, and she volunteered to come in to teach a writing unit and create books with the kids. So they made the paper and made the books and bound the books and then put their published work in it. And she did that just because she wanted to stay current and play with kids over the summer and not lose her touch in the classroom. So it was a nice addition and something to enhance the program that we already had for the students to go through and have that experience with her. So what I did to kind of look at our data is I compared students who attended Summer Bridge and what their scores were from the from the spring when they left, and then compared it to the fall maps that they just took. So in the yellow, you will see students who attended Summer Bridge. The non-attendees are students who were recommended, whose teachers still felt that they would benefit from Summer Bridge activities to prevent regression, but for whatever reason couldn't come this summer. So when we compared them, generally, the students who attended Summer Bridge did better than the kids who did not attend Summer Bridge, with an occasional little bump in the data, but for the most part, our attendees did better if they came. And then this is the area of math, and this is in the area of ELA. So we see the same trend pretty consistently, except for first grade, there's a little discrepancy. They did better if they came and they were active over the summer.
It was moving.
This year, we did a survey for our parents, for staff, and for students on the Summer Bridge program. So this is some of the feedback from staff. 100% of the staff that participated in Summer Bridge felt that the program was either very or highly effective. And I just put a few of the quotes from the survey. That they really enjoyed working with other teachers. They enjoyed the partnership that we had with Marist College, the opportunity to provide quality small group instruction, to have the continuation of learning that they left off in June, that they were able to continue some of the things they were working on, the fact that the district or the program provided meals for students, and that there was a dance class as enrichment.
We have a little accident. Not the dog, he just knocked over coffee.
Our feedback from parents, 89% of our parents said that the children were very or highly motivated to attend Summer Bridge. 90% of our parents felt that the program was very or highly effective in helping their children make academic progress. And 80% of the parents were hoping that their students would be able to return again next year and participate again. That 80%, some of them were fifth grade, and so they checked, well, they won't be, they'll be at Haviland, so they won't be able to participate in Summer Bridge. So that's why that percentage, I think, is a little bit lower, because they can't. Unfortunately, they've moved on. Some of the quotes that the children really enjoyed it, that it helped to increase their academic skills and small group support, and the teachers are great, which is definitely, I can attest to watching them in the summer. They really were great this summer. Feedback from students, 93% of the students reported that they really enjoyed the Summer Bridge program, and 83%, of course accounting for the fifth graders, were hoping that they would be able to participate again next year, which is nice that they're enjoying it and they want to be involved in academic activities even during their summer break. Some of the things that they enjoyed the most was having their family members visit. On the last day of Summer Bridge, we did host an open house where families got to come in and see the work that they worked on. The math games that were incorporated to math instruction, having food every day was definitely a buy-in. The dance instruction and learning new things and meeting new friends was some of the comments that the kids had. Are there any questions about the elementary portion of Summer Bridge?
Just had one question on the statistics of people, or the students that did well, or how they performed on tests versus those who didn't attend. How large was the group of students who didn't attend? So you're roughly around 25 students in most classes that did attend. How many were not able to attend?
I would estimate, I don't have the list in front of me, but I would estimate about 100 students that did not attend. There was about, we were about 250 who were recommended from all of the buildings. We always overestimate to account, for some people who are going to be on a vacation or have other plans or a camp already planned.
Yeah, that was the next question, is did you do anything to try to understand why those who didn't attend couldn't attend? Is there an obstacle? Is it a timing? Is it transportation? Is it,
Well, we provide
perhaps to try to,
transportation.
we provide it. No, so I'm just looking for, how do we get 100% of those kids that we identify?
That would be ideal.
So, is, something to look for.
Yep.
were there obstacles that we could overcome perhaps to get greater participation?
I don't think transportation was an issue because,
Yep.
again, the district did provide that.
Yep.
I think one obstacle are activities that parents already have plans or vacation have plans. One thing that we talked about possibly doing this year would be inviting them slightly earlier. So if they're making last-minute plans, perhaps they can plan for
Schedule
Summer
around
Bridge
it.
and schedule around it.
Yep.
So I think that would be helpful if we started just a little bit earlier so we could so parents could plan for that. I think that would help to increase our numbers.
And these were half-day program?
It's a half-day program,
Okay,
yes.
so perhaps having a child coming home in the early afternoon could have been a challenge as well for working parents that...
Could have been for daycare
Yeah,
purposes.
I mean, maybe, an afternoon program, like an extended day for some that, just an idea.
Yeah, that could definitely be something to look at.
I'll say that it is federally funded, so it has been in our Title I grant in the past, so there's a limit. I'm just
I mean,
going to say
it
that.
obviously looks like a great program, so the more students we can get into it, the better off we are.
Agreed.
Yeah, great.
Agreed. Yeah. Any other questions?
Do we have any potential dates for this summer?
Typically, the program runs just the Monday after the 4th of July holiday, and we run for 4 weeks for Summer Bridge. So slightly different than an extended school year, which is 6, we run for 4.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening. I'm Paul Faziolo. I'm the assistant principal at Haviland Middle School. That's my full-time job. My part-time job is that I'm the summer principal of the Haviland Summer Program. So first off, I want to thank the board, Greer, Aviva, Linda, for allowing this program to happen. As you're going to see, it's a very valuable program that we're allowed to run here, and a lot of students get a lot out of it, and I'm going to argue even teachers as well. I love this quote right here because this gets at the heart of project-based learning, which is at the heart of our summer program. Again, kids were very involved in this. It's in the summer, and kids are wanting to come and to learn and get actively involved. And I give kudos to our wonderful staff, and we'll talk about them in a second. So here are some of the logistics of the program. The program is an 18-day program, and its goal is to avoid academic regression, or what we'd like to call the summer slide, over the summer. The program is free of charge, and transportation is provided. So I want to give a big thank you to George Strudwell and his employees who really make it happen. Okay, so some of the logistics of the program. So we started out with about 40 students being identified at each grade level, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, based on classroom performance, based on MAP assessments. And also, our guidance counselors is a very unique thing that we do here at Haviland Middle School, is that they loop with the students, and they really get to intimately know the students, ones who would really benefit from a program in which they need a little bit of extra support, possibly at home. And so they're a very integral part of that selection process. So we started out with that grand goal of 140, and we ended up with 39. I know Mr. Sheldon addressed that issue previously, and we can talk about that as well at the end of this presentation, trying to increase attendance, because it is a great program. Some of the logistics of the staff. We had 14 teachers and staff combined in 6 classrooms of the C Wing that were fully air-conditioned, so I want to give a big shout-out to Elliot Sheldon for working with me to make that happen, because it would be unbearable if it wasn't. So thank you very much, Elliot, for that. We had 3 ELA teachers at every level. We had 3 math teachers at every level. We also had 2 reading teachers, 2 special ed teachers, a nurse, myself, and 2 support staff. Mrs. Rosaskis, if anyone has ever been at the middle school knows that she's an invaluable person who just intimately takes care of the kids and makes sure that they're okay, gets off the bus, and they're ready to go for the day. So big shout out to Patty Rosauskas. All right, so what is it all really about? So at the heart of it is it's project-based. And the program has to be extra meaningful because it's the summer, and really allowed us a wonderful opportunity last year to learn more about project-based learning related to the High-Tech High School out in California. And several of us were given access to attend that, and it really made a big difference in our instruction. So thank you, Greer. We emulated the High-Tech High concept in that it's project-based learning in its truest sense, meaning that there are no schedules, there are no space limits, there are no bells. The students work on one main project for 18 days, but along the way, they're working on several mini projects to attain the skills that they need to accomplish that one big project, and they're pretty fun. So we have one of our summer school teachers and one of our wonderful ELA teachers here tonight, Lorena Maynard. She's so nice to volunteer her time to come, just to give you a greater sense of the wonderful work that was done there. She participated in one of these projects at the 8th grade level this year, so I'd like to introduce her at this time. This is Lorena Maynard.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lorena Maynard. Thank you for having me tonight. I just wanted to come share a little bit about what we did in the summer program this year. I have actually taught in the program since it began, for the past 3 summers. Every year it changes a little bit depending on the students who I have, their scores, interests, and that kind of thing. I also participated in the High-Tech High in California, learned so much more about project-based learning. Learning through what you create. And this summer, I decided that I thought it'd be really interesting to take the social studies curriculum and combine it with art, music, writing, and we read all about art, music, and writing from the Holocaust, so I just brought a copy of the book that we read. We also did something, we wanted to do something that was interdisciplinary, project-based, collaborative, critical thinking. And as we read, we really studied a lot about different types of art, music, and writing and how we can use that to learn about society, culture, who we are. And throughout the time we were reading, we were studying different pieces of art, doing different, you saw the Picasso project up there, and different types of art throughout time, especially during the Holocaust. And students created different pieces that symbolically represented something to them. So we call this bricks of expression. Even a brick wants to be something. So the students designed their idea, and then after that, they received lots of peer feedback. So they had their design, they had their different ideas, and we did an activity where they walked around and put Post-its on each other's papers, and it's something that we did in San Diego, giving each other feedback, ideas, and Mr. Faziola, I guess, raided his backyard and brought us bricks. And we literally designed our bricks, and this particular one is by a student named Joanna Ruiz, and she calls it All in the Past, and her brick is a picture of a boy, kind of like a boy in the striped pajamas, and she has words around it, things such as family, and on the top you can see a bunch of stars, and she chose to use particular colors, and the students also wrote about the choices that they made and why. So for hers, the boy is symbolic of someone who was in probably a concentration camp. And the stars to her represent the future, hope, remembrance, past. And their titles were also designed by students to represent kind of what they were conveying. So they wrote about the choices they made, the tone, the meaning for them, and they did research as they went. And and they also presented. So I actually have a copy of the slides that I could leave with you if you're interested, of all the different bricks. And just to give you an example, another student, her name is Lisa, and she created a brick called In the Safety of My Bubble. And actually, it's right there on the bottom left, and it looks like a snow globe. And Lisa said, she chose a snow globe. She said, "I chose a snow globe theme for this project because it represents joy in a safe area. The inside of the globe is a contrast compared to the outside because there are two different meanings. The inside of the globe is colorful, which shows that wherever you are safe, there is always going to be a little bit of hope and happiness to forget what is happening around you or what has happened in the past." So she took the concept of someone who is living through a difficult experience surrounded by this snow globe and all these images that meant something to her with a contrast of the challenges facing that particular person. She talked about the colors she chose, why they stand out, joy, happiness versus challenges using the other colors around it. So students are very excited about these. We did ask them if we could keep them for a couple of years, and we have them curated and displayed at Haviland. If you walk in, you'll see them in the front display case, and I promised that they would get them back before graduation. So just wanted to tell you a little bit about our project this summer. Thank you.
Could you pass the paper with the drawings?
Absolutely. So you'll see that when they presented, we had all the bricks as well as the students' writing, so you guys can have a copy of that.
Thank
And I
you.
can share it in color too, if anyone's interested. I can share it last slide.
If you email it to me, I can email it to the board.
Absolutely.
It was very moving.
Those are yours. These are mine. And that's her.
Thank you, Lorena. And that's only just one of the wonderful projects that was completed in 18 days. It's amazing, honestly, the amount of work that they got done, meaningful in 18 days with no restrictions. But also the softer skills of being a student that are promoted within this program. The students have to sign behavioral contracts. They also have to commit to attend to the program. So we gave out rewards for perfect attendance. So they're also staying connected, not only doing fun, learning things, but they're also staying connected on, hey, this is how it is to be a student for an extra month of the year, which is great. Okay, so to the fun part, right? The statistics. I know that this program is great. I've seen it. I've seen the joy that it brings to kids and the engagement and the connections. And so we wanted to look at some of the data. And what we did was, because one of the criteria to get into it was MAP assessments, we looked at the scores from the spring that they took compared to the ones that they just took in the fall. The students who attended the program are in green. The students who were invited but didn't attend are in blue. And so our current 7th graders, who were 6th graders at the time, 81% showed no regression or showed increase in their RID scores of their MAP assessments, which is wonderful. Same students at the ELA level, so 54% no regression, showed an increase in their RIT scores. Our current 8th graders, who at the time were 7th graders, showed no regression, 58%, or showed increased RIT score, whereas the ones who didn't attend, who were invited, showed a 60% regression. Same students for ELA, 66, no regression, showed increase in the RIT, 51% who did not attend showed some regression. These are current freshmen at FDR, which kudos to them, because here they are coming back to the middle school, and we just said goodbye to them a couple days before and said, welcome to the high school. So they stayed with us for an extra month. Again, you're going to see a similar pattern where there is no regression for the ones who, or even a slight increase for the ones who attended, and then some for the ones who didn't. And again, we're not looking for miracles. It's 18 days. So these statistics feel real.
18 half-days.
Correct. Not even full days. Thank you, Aviva.
Yeah.
It's 3 hours.
Yeah.
Right? But they're action-packed. But yes, you're right. Again, ELA for our 9th graders, 60% no regression or showed increase. 57% of the ones who didn't showed regression. We also handed out surveys at the end. We handed out surveys to parents, teachers, and the students. And here's some of the comments that we received from our students. I mean, if you really look at that, that's absolutely amazing. These kids are coming to school in the summer, and they're saying that they absolutely enjoyed it, or they enjoyed participating a little bit. Overall, it's positive, the feedback. Some of the feedback that we got from the parents, they were really proud of what their child was doing. And they said, hey, we should, hold a workshop, to highlight it, which is a great idea. They responded that their child was motivated and the program was effective. Again, one of the things I was thinking about is, as Perry was talking, is the comment from the teachers. Maybe if we provided breakfast and snacks, and I'm going to tell you that and snacks part, the teachers provided snacks. They took it right out of their own money, and they just embraced the children and gave them snacks. They're wonderful, wonderful people. But that could be something that we explore moving forward. So in the end, I want to thank you all, really. What you have allowed for us to do these past 3 years is so good, so good. And so I want to thank you for that. And one last quote that I like, what we learn with pleasure, we never forget. And I know not only for these students, but also for the teachers involved and for myself, I'm never going to forget all the things that we've done here. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah. Just, you've been running it 3 years now?
Yes.
Are you getting the same students back each summer, or?
Great question. Great question. We've had, right, we had the same student. We had, I believe, 5 students, which, when you look at our numbers, is pretty decent. We went all the way from 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. But what we truly are looking at is, I get it. It's the summer. We invite about 120 kids. Maybe doing that invitation a little bit earlier before summer plans are made. Maybe providing breakfast if we can. Some other enticements. Once the kids get there, they love it. It's almost like we're pushing them out of the door at 11:30. It's like, go, have fun, do summer stuff. So honestly, that's something that we would like to see increase. Kids stay with it, but also to get more participating. Yeah.
So I guess a question about, so is this a federal funded program as well, or not?
General fund.
General fund, okay. Do we know what the cost of breakfast and snack would be? We got to look at
Can't be that much.
We got to look at that.
Yeah.
It can't be that
And
much.
because it's 3 hours, it could be, brunch.
Whatever. It's proven that students who are hungry don't learn as well.
100%.
Well, we actually did, in a prior year, bus the students when the summer bridge was at Ralph R. Smith, because we had the free food program, and it was really challenging.
Yeah, I would say,
Logistically, the timing, the busing, so I think it makes more sense to just look to fund it.
Breakfast is a relatively easy.
No doubt. We had students coming and asking for more. Like, again, Lorena was one of those teachers who provided snacks, and it's so heartwarming, really, just the care that they took of these students.
Get a food truck to stop by.
I'd be all for that. Yeah, definitely.
Again, all the projects were just amazing. I wound up showing on the wrong day for the show, but I did get to see all the projects, and they are memorable. Whether it was the model theme parks.
6th grade.
And, but the bricks, especially, they're on display, it's a very moving experience to see the bricks and to read the descriptions. If you haven't taken the time to go see them, it's really powerful.
And while you mentioned that, Greer, I want to give a shout out to one of the students, Carter Bernhardt. He showed up tonight to support me. He's a good friend of mine, so I want to appreciate that. He was involved in the model house at the 6th grade level. He had perfect attendance as well.
Oh, good.
So, Paul, on your statistics, if you just go back to
Yep.
just want to clarify the way I'm reading it. If you go back to the ninth graders' math.
Okay. We'll get there. ELA, you're close, there we go.
So when you put down 66% showed no regression, 57% showed regression. So you're saying 34% showed no. I'm just saying you've compared two different sides of the story, and I just see it presents so much more to say the program is showing so much less regression.
Yeah.
And to
Thank you.
to
Thank you for
highlight
that,
the
Jeff.
difference, because it's, if you look 66 and 57, it's like, oh, they have opposite meanings.
I understand. Thank you.
No one likes statistics better than I do, but I have to admit, I've got to believe that there's an intangible value to these programs that we can't measure. I mean, just the idea of keeping kids engaged,
100%.
and it just, I just think it's great. I mean, the idea of keeping kids coming back for more education, and doing things that are kind of fun, but they're learning. I mean, the project.
100%, Barry. Again, like I was talking to, the soft skills of, here we are, we're continuing on, we're not forgetting these things, we're enjoying learning, we're connecting with the school, it's phenomenal.
So I guess the next step is, how do we carry that right through the school year? That's part of it. I mean, I think that's really what we want, because,
100%,
your first statements is, people learn, how they learn, and I think different kids learn different ways, but I think...
I know that this summer program allows us flexibility that we don't have, unfortunately, during the school year. Like I said, the High-Tech High, in its truest form, because we were able to attend, is, hey, you need 6 weeks to work on this one thing? Great. You need to work on it over there with those 7 people? Go ahead. There's no bells. Take as long as you need. And so we did a mini simulation of that within our 3 hours every day. Go where you need to go. Work with who you got to work with. Get it done.
High-Tech High was part of Bill Daggett's...
It was, that was the school featured in Most Likely to Succeed, and I think it was 3 years ago now, we hosted a viewing of that movie over at the Wallace Center, and we had about 60 community members, but it is the school that's featured in Most Likely to Succeed, connected to Wagner, Bill Daggett, all of the work, and of course this was kind of the foundation of our strategic plan, was this type of work, getting kids to critically think, collaborate, be creative, and this is all part of what we're doing to support that kind of atmosphere. So it was interesting to go to California to see it, and then to see the mini model back in Hyde Park over the summer. So thank you for...
And thank you for making that connection to the 4 Cs group, because this naturally adheres itself to that kind of work. It does.
Just stepping out of the tradition.
Yes.
Just doing something different, and maybe, I don't know, I guess I'm becoming a little rebellious at times. But, we can't continue to do the same thing we've always done and think that the results are going to be better. So, here's something that takes kids that need something, have been identified, and you get those kind of results. You got to do more of that.
Kids will remember the projects and, and their involvement.
And it may be what keeps them coming back, year after year, and, it may get them to graduation.
And they bond in a different way, so this whole social piece is immeasurable, so great job.
Thank you. Thank you, guys, again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm rounding out the report for all our other summer programs. So we have Camp Invention again. We had 110 students participating in grades 1 through 5. We had 5 teachers, 2 teaching assistants, and 9 FDR intern volunteers in the program. Kim Neisel is our coordinator. We hosted the Regional Academic Summer School, the BOCES Summer School, and our statistics here are just the FDR students. So I just focused on our students. We had 121 students enrolled. So 136 classes issued credit to our students who didn't have the credit before the summer, and this is, that some of the classes were half-credit classes. And we had 4 August graduates as a result of summer school. And that does count ultimately in our graduation rate, our 4-year graduation rate. And then we have extended school year for students with disabilities that are eligible for extended school year, and not just at BOCES. So we do send students to Saul Point BOCES and to Beta, but you can see all of our other schools where students have 12-month programs. So our buses are running all summer long. And I think Deanna mentioned that extended school year is a 30-day program, and that's, in the state regulations. Usually half-day, BOCES runs a half-day program for summer school for ESY, but a lot of these programs are full day, and students are full day year-round. Sorry, we had 96 students participating in ESY. And that's really all I have. Do you have any questions?
I would just say that all the presentations were very, very impressive. Great job for our administrators and others. A lot of schools have summer programs. Something like this that's so comprehensive, it really makes me feel good as a parent that these opportunities are there for our children. So for the parents that aren't participating, you really should take advantage of these and start participating for next summer.
Thank you. And I want to add that we've been very aware of the intangibles, and there's a lot of support for our summer programs over the years, but this is the first year that we made a conscious decision to gather some data. So we've done surveys before, we did surveys again, and we used the MAPS, the NWEA data, and we're able to really show that far fewer students regress and they make progress, besides all of the good feelings and the good connections that kids are making with school. So, and that's part of why it takes this long to do the summer school report, because we need to finish fall maps and had to crunch the numbers to get you this data. So thank you.
I'll make a plug for the whole facilities world as well. I mean, as we start talking about having more and more students in our buildings through the summer months, it just shows the need for having adequate HVAC, particularly the air conditioning side of that for our buildings.
And we actually had air conditioning units in all of our summer school classrooms this summer.
Yeah,
so again, thank you, Elliot. That wasn't easy.
Yeah.
So on next to public participation, can I have a motion to open public participation?
You stop.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. If you would like to address the board, please come to the microphone and state your name and your concerns or praises or whatever. Seeing none, public participation is now closed. And we'll move on to board discussion. So as Greer was pointing out, the SED is looking for input on graduation measures. And on the board from NISBA, there was 5 questions they were looking to gather input from. And I was looking for the board, maybe we could talk about them or put together a list and maybe put something to the SED on that. So the first question up is, what do we want children to know and be able to do before they graduate?
I think that's the 4 Cs.
Critical thinking. I mean, most important is...
I think we've already done that.
The 4 Cs? Do you have anything else, you guys? So how about the next question? How do we want them to demonstrate their knowledge and skills?
I think
4 Cs?
we might explore some kind of portfolio things rather than relying on testing.
think we saw good examples of that tonight. I think, the idea of, projects, tangible projects, where whether it be the brick project, or, I saw some house design. I mean, there's, collaboration. I mean, it shows the culmination of putting all those skill sets together in one project. I think to me, that's a demonstration I look for, is completion of projects. I mean, that's the other side. You got to be able to complete things. You don't want to get stuck in a stymie of overthinking.
And Rachel, you get to take part in this conversation.
No pressure there, but...
Yes. I have a question already. What would you require to be in the portfolio, and what would that be in place of?
Good questions.
I know.
Examples of the work. I would want to know if participation in class, how that goes. Those type of things I think are more important than testing, because some people just don't test well, for one thing. It's like when we get to the next step about the Regents exam, I think they should just get rid of them, myself. There is nowhere in the United States, other than a few places in New York, that puts any meaning to a Regent score. You can fail all your Regents and go get into college in New Jersey, but you can't in New York. So it's like...
But even in going into college in New Jersey, there is certain skill level that a lot of colleges still do, but a basic reading or math assessment types.
The Regent score is meaningless to anybody outside of New York State.
But there should be some basic reading, math, maybe not the Regents, but there should be some basic level.
Put it this way, the trend in colleges is to not require SATs.
Yes.
So it all depends on your body of work, your school, and pretty much your essay and any interview type thing. I think colleges give more meaning to that than they do to whether or not you're first or 43rd in the class. I think we got it all wrong, to tell you the truth.
But the college ranking, or scholarship does go on the ranking, though. They do use that competitive for scholarships. So how do you handle that part? I'm not talking about the Regents, but I'm talking about class rankings and that. It is very competitive in college for scholarships.
I think the trend in this country is to get rid of class ranking.
Doug, can you move closer to the mic?
Okay.
Please.
Sorry.
I can't even
I know,
hear you.
and I mumble too, so it's I think a national trend is to do away with class ranking, because it got out of hand in other states. In some states and schools, they had 5 or even 20 valedictorians. There's no meaning to that. And yes, I think people should do well, and they should strive to do well in school, but do we need all that pressure? I know kids in my children's classes that were so intent on being in the top 5 that they literally flunked out. They were so stressed that it didn't, the high school experience was not a good one for them. There's other kids that handle it, and I love it and everything, but I don't see any more of the point in a class rank.
But when we're dealing with graduation measures, class rank isn't in the New York State's requirement, so.
Well, we put the top 20 on a stage.
Yes, but that's us personally. It's not SED's requirements of graduation measures.
Well, we certainly should have graduation requirements. I'm just saying they could be done better. Unfortunately, that means it's more work for administrators and teachers as well. So, I don't know, I guess you have to balance it, but I think in a perfect world, the demonstration of knowledge other than testing would be a better way to increase your graduation rate.
I think it should
It's
be,
not easy.
I think it has to be a combination. I think we have to look at
Well, I'm
the
not against
portfolios,
testing.
and I think we have to look at testing,
I think testing is
too.
fine. I just think we shouldn't rely so much on the test score and make a test fun. And maybe it's me, I love to take tests. To me, it was a challenge. For other kids, it isn't. So, I did well in high school because I tested well. Was always the one that said, if he only worked a little harder in class, he could really do well. I turned out fine, I think, so it's...
Excuse me. Great dialogue, right? I'm not sure that this is the appropriate place to be having a debate over this. I
That's
mean,
fine.
If
It relates to these questions, though.
I would make a suggestion that if we want to collect responses to this, that each of us as board members perhaps could
Just email it?
could email something to the board president and.
Okay, so I'm going to read the rest of the questions. You have something you want to add?
No, I'm just saying to Perry that these questions are maybe not worded about exactly what I was saying, but they are basically, what do we want for our students? And how do we want them to perform? And how do we want to say, yes, you did a great job? Which is 3 of those questions there.
So I'm going to read the rest of these questions, just for the rest of the public to know that you can go to the SED page and put your input in. To what degree does requiring passage of the Regents exam improve student achievement, graduation rates, or college readiness? Next question, what other measures of achievement could serve as indicators of high school completion? And the last question, how can measures of achievement accurately reflect the skills and knowledge of special populations, including students with disabilities and English language learners?
I know, you just told their failures.
So I'm encouraging everyone to go and give their input to SED. If we want the system to change, NICED, not SED, well, it's on the NICED page. Yes. I'm looking at the NISPA page. Okay. Yes. It's grad measures at nysed.gov. So I'd encourage you, put out your input. If we want things to change in the state, then your input is needed, along with the rest of us as a board. And we like input from our administrators, too.
Yeah, I'm wondering, we could probably do to get more, maybe, put the link out there and maybe use School Messenger to get it to staff and families.
Yeah. And Rachel, we want your input.
I guess, I'm not really sure. I do agree that testing is necessary. I just have questions that probably could be answered later, but testing and a portfolio, I think that could be a good combination.
I'm going to move on to subcommittee reports.
I'll pull it closer. The policy committee met again. We meet every 2 weeks, so you're going to hear from me at every meeting, I guess. So we went over, 17, 18, 20 policies at this last meeting, and not counting those 20 so far this year, which is not that long, we've already processed 42, was it? 42 policy. So considering how many there are and how quickly they change, we're doing a good job, I think. And we wouldn't, as I said, every meeting, we wouldn't do a good job without Jay's organizational skills. So thank you, Jay.
Any other committee reports?
Just, I'd like to add I'm almost embarrassed here. It sounds like these guys on this committee are working so hard, and I just went out and had breakfast this morning.
Somebody had to do it.
But the after-breakfast meeting was probably more important, in that we got a chance to meet with I think there were 4 members of the Hyde Park Town Board there. And it turns out that we do have some common interests, and I think moving forward are looking to work together with the town board to accomplish some of our goals and theirs. So I think it was a good meeting this morning.
Yeah, very good. Also, we had a district leadership team meeting. The board members were unable to attend, but we did review our building condition survey. Thank you, Elliot, for sending that in, and kind of really pick up the pieces of discussing in order to keep our facilities maintained, our debt service level. It's time to start exploring the next capital project. We also picked up where we left off last year on our branding and our public relations campaign. We did have a good group of people, and we had the public relations department from Duchess Bosse's come and work with us and leave us with some, great foundation to take it to the next level of looking at where we want to go and what's the difference between just, public relations, branding, and advertising, and really have set us on track for putting the pieces of that together. So we're really excited about that. We generated a lot of ideas, and we're looking forward to the next meeting where we start to roll out that plan. And we mapped out what we were going to do for the remainder of the meetings of the school year. And we also asked both the instructional DLT and the evening DLT if there was an interest in hosting the BLT dinner again this year, or do we skip a year? And the consensus was, let's do it again. They felt a tremendous value in seeing the work of other buildings.
And I would like to say, I would like to hear the joint schools all coming together on that one topic.
Yeah.
I think that would say a lot.
I think my understanding is they're actually, everybody's on board, but since they've already established their goals for this year, that it's a think tank this year so that they're ready to move into next year, and they have meetings planned. And I have to say, Lynette is leading the way on that charge and organized all that. So, that's going to be maybe at that dinner, they can report out their progress on the collective we of elementary goal. Yeah, that'd be great. See, you got a new job? No. It's all good.
Any other? Okay, so let's move on to the consent agenda. I have a motion for the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion?
Yeah, I would like, you want to do it?
No, go ahead.
No, you do it.
No, do it.
You do it.
I would just like to welcome Ronald Robinson is on the agenda for appointment, and I'm anxious to see our facilities department full and ready to go, and welcome to Hyde Park School District.
Welcome.
Yeah, we're really excited, so.
Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Motion carries. Okay, I have a motion for 11.1, special education placements.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Okay, I have a motion for 11.2, adoption of board goals for the 2019-2020 year.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for 11.3, the HPTA stipulation of agreement?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Keeping it? Okay, I have a motion for 11.4, first consideration of policies.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion?
Just good job to all those involved. Thank you.
Any more? Okay, all those in favor? Motion carries. Got a motion for 11.5, booster club approvals.
So, second?
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for 11.6, the acknowledged receipt of and acceptance of the external audit?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. I have a motion for 11.7 of the building level safety plan.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. I have a motion for second public participation.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. If anybody would like to address the board, this is your second chance. Please come to the microphone.
Hello, my name is Lydia Farmer, and I am a parent here at North Park. I did have a few questions for you guys. I just wanted to know what happened with students who were coming from different states, and the requirements are different in each state going into first grade. What are the, as far as, I know by September, September 1st, they have to be 5 in order to get into first grade here. And then in certain states by after their 5th birthday, or they have to be 5 by, no, I'm sorry, it's opposite. By September 1st, they have to be 5 years old in different states. So by September 30th, they have to be 5 in, New York State, correct me? What are the, I don't know, what are the requirements to enter first grade?
I can answer in general. So for New York, I'm sorry.
Just for protocol, I want to know if you have other questions, and then we let you get through your questions, and then
Sure. And then, as far as transportation, the students, they don't wear seatbelts. I just wanted to know, like, what was the process with that, and the safety issues and all of that, and then the students being dropped off, coming to their driveways, the speed limit for the bus drivers and all of that. That was it. And then the library fees, if the student, if he or she forgets to bring in his or her book for library day, they're charged $15. I'm not sure about that, but I just wanted to know about those things. But those were my questions.
The building.
Okay. On the way public participation, anyone, we have to have all the questions in, then we'll close it.
Oh, yeah.
And then we can answer. But as the way public participation is, everyone has to come, give their answers, then we have to close it, and then we're allowed to share what we would come up for answers, or how to get those answers back to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to come and address the board?
Good evening, Steve Hughes, district resident. I have a suggestion that you can, for something you can tell the Board of Regents, and that is that the premise that students must pass the Regents in order to prepare for college is fatally flawed, in that not all students are destined for college. I think the two things that the school district ought to be doing for their students when they graduate is, one, helping them decide what direction they're going to go, and two, preparing them for that direction. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to address the board? Seeing none, public participation is now closed. Viva, you wanted to respond?
Yeah, it was such a rookie mistake, starting to answer the question. I'm so excited I have the answer.
Does your hand feel sore from being slapped on the back?
Wow. Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. Okay. So in New York State, students need to be 5 by December 1st for kindergarten. So that's the answer to that. And recently, we did change a policy that had to do with accepting students into first grade, so that we wouldn't penalize students who have lived in another state, where September 1st would be the cutoff. So we changed that policy. We had a case, and we were able to do the right thing in accordance to the law, and then we changed the policy after that. So ongoingly, we wouldn't be violating the policy.
Does someone have the answers for what late fees are? Or do we charge late fees from the library?
To my knowledge, if the kid has the book late to the library, no, but I will have to double check that. To my knowledge, we are not charging children for a late library book. They're probably just told, bring it in, but I just want to verify, but I have never heard of a late charge for a library book in our district. Linda, do you have school bus seatbelts? I can't remember where, I know New York State doesn't require seatbelts.
I could get more information. New York State doesn't require seatbelts, but I believe if the bus has seatbelts on it, then we're required to use them and have our staff trained on securing them and making sure the children are using them properly. And we do use seatbelts for buses that have, when we use car seats, and some of our children require that.
Yeah, the pre-K bus, they all belt them.
The pre-K buses, we have seatbelts for them.
I rode on that one.
Drop-off at driveways, it's not door-to-door. New York State law is, I think, 1 mile. We certainly don't have any students walking a mile, but we do have designated bus stops, so it is not a guaranteed door-to-door. We do have bus stops in several locations throughout the district. We always like to hear from parents. There are times when we are unable to change the bus stop for various reasons, but we would love to hear any specific concerns. It's not a guarantee that we can change it, but we would love to hear. I think that was it, yeah.
And Steve Hughes.
Oh, and Steve, yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It's New York State constantly says college and career ready, and career ready is huge. And I also, you just give me my platform, I would like to publicly say that percentage-wise, we send more students to the Career and Tech Institute at Duchess Bosse's than any of our colleagues. I remember Dr. Hooley's surprise when I told him I never want to prevent anyone from going to CTI if they choose to go that route. It is he said his experience, including his own when he was a superintendent of a school district, is that it's an area where you're always trying to squeeze and cut the budget. And my philosophy is I don't want to ever say no to a student who wants to go to a career institute to plan their future. I feel like the pendulum is just swinging back to where it was on 2 counts. We used to have multiple pathways to graduation, and it was a tremendous asset and a relief to not have such severe graduation requirements, especially for students who are disenfranchised with the traditional school setting and may be really ready just to go on to career prep. The other thing that really resonated tonight was prior to the testing insanity that we have lived under, and I'm not totally anti-testing, I think I'd lose my license if I said that, but prior to where we are right now in New York State, I guess it was the 90s, we were all poised for project-based learning, and we spent a tremendous amount of time rewriting curriculum and looking at project-based learning and portfolios, and it just seemed in a very short period of time that was all taken away, and lo and behold, here we are, and everybody asking us, oh, can we have some input? Maybe we should think about this differently. So I'm pleased that New York State is looking at this, and I just wish we hadn't spent the last couple of decades ignoring what we knew about effective instructional practices and lifelong learning and the value of project-based learning. So I'm happy we're getting there. I think it was at the expense of a couple of decades worth of students, and I think we completely missed the mark for some of our high-need students and our English language learners, where the philosophy was that everybody could hit the same bar, and I get why they went there, that they didn't want to underestimate what students could do, but I think there are a lot of people, a lot of students who felt inferior or incapable when they exited our high schools because of how far the pendulum went the other way. As with any extremes, I was a product of the 70s, where we had the lowest, I see a couple heads nodding out there, where we had the lowest academic standards. So I understand why the pendulum started to move to the high standards, but it went to an extreme. I mean, when I graduated, you only needed minimal requirements. 1 year of math, 1 year of science, 4 years of English, 3 years of social studies. I don't even know if foreign language was a requirement. I took it, but it was the easiest time to graduate in the history of the state was when I graduated, and then we went the other way. And so I'm glad to see the pendulum moving back. I hope they don't make it tedious, and I certainly hope they don't swing back to the 70s either, because that was a little ridiculous. So.
My memory of the 70s is a little bit different, but Steve makes a good point, and he makes an excellent point, and that we really need to be helping kids identify where they want to go. And I think one of the other things that I would add to that is, and recognize that path is going to change over time. And I am a huge proponent of the CTI BOCES program. A good carpenter will never starve, is what I say. But over time, they may find that, maybe I can't just do it on what I learned at BOCES. I need to go back. I need to go to college. I need to pick up, associate's degree in order to be able to get a particular position I want, or to have my own business. And I think that that's where we really have to be looking at, helping students understand that what's the path today and how that path might change. And it's not one or the other. There's an infinite number of paths, and our guidance department is critical in that, and I think we're doing a better and better job of it. I think the career fairs that we're doing are great things. Certainly, a combination of the career and college fairs, but that's really where we need to be focusing particularly. And I think maybe a concentration those last few years to really help students get to the right place going forward. So, good point, Steve. Thank you for bringing it back in the front of our face again.
And yeah, Steve, I wrote it down too, so I was going to put it in. our stuff. Any more? Any other comments? Okay, we're going to move on. There's no other matters deemed necessary by the board. There's no need for a second executive session. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. We are now adjourned.